It has somewhat fascinated me to watch the anti-vaxxers protest in Melbourne and Sydney and generally around Australia, because I wonder what this is all about. I've been advocating for issues around child abuse, child protection for over a decade now. And it's whenever we've had a protest around the way the government has behaved concerning the inordinate a number of removals that have taken place, we have very few people turn up because at the end of the day, people don't care, it seems, about what's happening to our children. But they do care about their belief in terms of the restrictions that are placed upon them. Now, many of these people that are protesting today in Melbourne, thousands of them, have probably never encountered anything like the child protection system. Most of them don't care about children at all, even though it was reported that Craig Kelly was concerned about the impact that the vaccination of children is going to have on kids. Where in the hell that idea comes from, I'll never know. I can use words that are most uncomplimentary to describe someone like Craig Kelly and a lot of the people that turn up at these rallies. I don't care about people protesting. I couldn't give a rat's ass about the reasons why they protest. They have the right to do so, so do so. But when it comes to issues that really do matter, I think about the way our children have been treated within our child protection system, the way our children get ignored generally across the board, the way we ignore them in terms of education, health, mental health, and disabilities and so on. And yet we can't get people to come along to rallies whereby we're concerned about the issues related to health or to children. But we are gathering thousands of people to complain about the lockdowns, the fact that there are certain restrictions as a result of the coronavirus. What really fascinates me even more, I think, is that a moron would only believe that it's a hoax. To see what's happening around the world in relation to safe. I want my children to be safe. I want my grandchildren to be safe. And when people stand up without any real evidence to support their most bizarre notions, simply because they want a platform to be heard, such as Craig Kelly, who would never have a platform anywhere else, and to be applauded by a group of people who simply do not understand the reasons why they're behaving the way that they are, who have got a distinct hatred for people like Dan Andrews and others, it just makes me wonder what's happening to us all. Where are we going? What will be the eventual result of all of this? We will become more and more divided. There will come a time when the unvaccinated will become a second-class citizen simply because of the choices they've made and because of the restrictions that will be imposed upon them. I cannot see what's so awkward or what's so difficult or what's so blatantly wrong with getting an injection. The 2 injections is probably 30 minutes out of a person's life. It's hardly much of a price to pay. There is no evidence to suggest or to support the QAnon theories around the number of people that will potentially die from being vaccinated. It amazes me that there are many rules and regulations that people just accept but don't argue against, that have always been there. I can remember a time when seat belts were mandated, and my father objected slightly to that, but he did accept the fact that he eventually had to wear a seatbelt just like the rest of us, and that it has been a safety measure that has actually saved lives. Like people having to wear helmets while riding a bike or skateboarding for the same reason. It saves lives. We'd be stupid, we'd be ignorant, we'd be negligent if we chose not to implement some of those things. I don't see how implementing implementing laws or providing obligations around something that is a health risk, such as COVID-19, is unrealistic because we have all these other rules that we have to follow as well. I think that the time will come when eventually we'll all sit back and we'll wonder what in the hell this fuss was all about, maybe in the end, 2 or 3 years down the track. Hopefully at some point we'll get back to what we consider normal. But at the moment it's not. You know, if we want to travel, if we want to go interstate, if I want to go interstate and visit my children and my grandchildren, then, you know, I have to abide by a few rules. I'm prepared to have a jab, 2 or 3 jabs, in order to be able to do that. I'm prepared to carry documentation to demonstrate that I have. Because at the end of the day, my children are more important to me than anything. And seeing them and being with them is vital to my own mental well-being. What does it matter if I have a couple of jabs? What does it matter if I have to fill out some paperwork or I have to show something at the border? It doesn't to me, because ultimately the aim and the objective of seeing my children is more important. Yet people object to it. People are filled with hatred and resentment. And it was disappointing to see that someone brought along a gallows today with a couple of nooses to the protest in Melbourne. You know, this is echoing what happened in the United States on January the 6th. I'd hate to think that this same terrible language and behaviour comes part of the Australian culture as it has in other parts of the world. I think that would be a shame. It'd be a disgrace, to be quite honest. And we need to make the changes, though, in our own thinking about what is in our best interest and what is in the best interest of our children. And that is to protect them from COVID-19. Now, many of you that are watching this video will probably disagree, so be it. But to have a healthy debate about it is important, and I don't shy from that opportunity. If people want to debate it, fine. But don't try and be aggressive towards me or to others that take a different perspective. I'm not suggesting for a moment that we shouldn't talk about it or have the discussion. Happy to have it. But I will accept your views, no matter how bizarre they might appear to me, as I would expect you to accept mine, regardless of how bizarre they might appear to you. And maybe sometimes we just need to find ways to learn to live together, to have shared differences, not to be as combative around the issues in which we see as different. But maybe we need to fight for our own sense of freedom. Freedom from conflict, freedom from hate,